Welcome to Riot Rumble, live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca and all of our other affiliations. My name is Justin. This is my co-host, always Dan. Dan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Very happy to be back in the studio. Took a couple of days off just because I was not in the province, but now we are back and have a lot of wrestling to discuss ahead of this coming weekend's clash at the Castle.
Yeah, we missed a lot. So we missed a Raw, a Smackdown, and then a Raw again.
Yeah,
So let's get into it.
yes, for sure. So going to SmackDown, we're just going to go straight to it. More bloodline action, and the bloodline just seems to be the bane in our existence, as there was a double anointment on SmackDown as Solo Sikoa anointed Tonga Loa as an official member of the bloodline and said Tama Tonga is the official right-hand man. Oh man, Dan, what are our initial thoughts on this?
Paul Heyman's terrified, absolutely scared.
Oh man, it's one of those ones where we talk about it every week, and I feel like it just gets not worse and worse, but it gets more jarring every week. What is going on?
You know, props to Tama Tonga. I think he deserves the right-hand man position. There's been a lot of talk, I think, through a lot of insiders about how well he's done. I think he's performed better than people even expected. These guys are great. They're evil.
Yeah.
You want to hate them. They're doing what they're supposed to do, though.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to like them.
Exactly.
I don't know anyone who really likes Solo right now. But the bloodline's good, right? So the story's good. And then we've got Kevin Owens coming into the ring and attacking the entire bloodline by himself.
3-on-1.
And and he gets saved by the Street Profits. Weird thing, though, after that, the refs come in, the security comes in, they break it up, and then they have a match later on in the evening. So we're going to go straight to that match later on in the evening. And, what do you think of that?
Yeah, honestly, I thought the match was pretty good. I watched it all with my brothers, and I thought, like you said, just to relay on the point, I think Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga, they've actually been a breath of fresh air, if I'm going to be honest. I think, as you said for the past weeks, they're just really, like, gritty and brutal. And I feel like it brings in a new kind of vibe to the bloodline. And it's just cool because, like, for me, they're so good. And then to have Solo as their, like, ringleader, it's kind of funny to see. I think so highly of the Street Profits. I've been watching them since their run in NXT. I actually saw them live, and I love them as a tag team.
Can you maybe clarify for me here, like, how do the Street Profits fit into this? Obviously, we had Kevin Owens, we had RKO, we had the RKO show.
Yeah.
He's hurt right now. We know Randy Orton's out for a while. Street Profits kind of came in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Was there an existing feud with the bloodline? Was there an existing partnership with Kevin Owens? Like, how did this even happen?
Honestly, I'm also just as confused as you, to be honest. Once upon a time, I feel like they might have ran into the Usos just because tag team versus tag team, but this isn't even the Usos bloodline anymore. They also were just with Bobby Lashley in the Pride, right? So that's kind of, I guess, fizzling out while they're dealing with some injuries there to B-Fab and Bobby Lashley. So I think for them, this is just filler, but good filler, though, because it gets them exposure and traction. So, yeah, I'm with you, though. It was kind of confusing.
And then, obviously, the match ended in a disqualification. Solo hitting Owens with a chair. Or sorry, he was hitting Street Profits with a chair. Disqualification. I don't think they care if they win or they lose. They just want to destroy people. Thoughts on the end of that match? Yeah,
honestly, it was a good match. Had that heel ending, as you said, and it's just brutal. I feel like no one is safe around this new bloodline. I said at the start, they're very jarring. So at least with the old bloodline, you almost felt like everyone's going to put up a valiant fight and lose to the Roman Reigns of the world or the Usos. This one, you're just getting beat. No matter what, you win or lose, you're getting beat, and they're going to stand tall at the end. After the match, they had a brutal assault on the Mall, actually. It started off with Solo doing a familiar move. What happened there?
I missed that. What was it?
Oh, so as you see here, Solo.
Oh, yes, the spear. Yeah, so he stealing Roman Reigns moves. Why? Like, he's got his own moves. Why is he stealing Roman Reigns moves?
Yep, he went to do the Samoan Spike and said no, and then went and hit forward right there with the spear. Oh, man. Heyman in the corner was my exact reaction. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, there's no way there's more, right? But then what happened after that?
So they put him through the table, Randy Owens, Kevin Owens through the table, announcer's table, and look at Paul Heyman. Just sad.
Oh, man.
And I was going to talk about this afterwards, but, we have seen Roman Reigns. He's working out. He's exercising. He looks like he's getting strong, ready to return. There's no way he's given permission to Solo to do his moves.
Yeah, no way.
Or
at
is
all.
there? Maybe
I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think there is. I think this is just... it's something that just leaves me speechless, thinking that those three just hit Kevin Owens with the Shield bomb through the table. That was Roman Reigns and the Shield's move, and they just did that. I was actually speechless.
Kevin Owens almost looks like he's posing there.
It kind of does, with this little glam shot. But yeah, Paul Heyman once again just looking like he's he's just the saddest man in the room, to be honest. I feel like what this bloodline is doing to everyone else physically is what they're doing to him emotionally. They're just destroying him.
And to be fair, Paul Heyman warned Kevin Owens. He told him to get out of this. Now, I don't know when we see Roman Reigns back, maybe SummerSlam, hopefully sooner. How do you see that playing out?
See, that's a great question. Now, I will say in the last couple weeks, we did say that when the Bloodline put up the ones, they're acknowledging Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But now, Solo has said that apparently Roman Reigns has made him the head of the table. So when they put up the ones now, they're acknowledging Solo. That's why we didn't put up the ones. I think we're going to be in a situation where Roman's going to come back, and dare I say it, I feel like they might attack Roman Reigns.
I think so too. I was just going to say I could see that standing there, attacking Roman Reigns. And then what happens with Roman Reigns? Maybe the Usos reunite.
I know.
Maybe we have another bloodline.
Like, it's so crazy because Roman Reigns has been a character that we've seen for the past 10 plus years, and everyone that he trusts eventually leaves them or betrays him. We saw it with Seth Rollins. He betrayed him. Dean Ambrose left the company. The Usos betrayed him. Solo, maybe he's next. And we might be in a position where the big dog might have to come back, because he's obviously still the tribal chief, but for now it's Solo Sikoa. We might be in a position where it's just the big dog Roman Reigns in his own yard by himself. And like you said, we might need the Usos to come back. Maybe there's more family members out there that can come support.
Yeah, there's rumors of more family members. Now, what if he teams up with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton?
Oh, could you see that team? Could you imagine that? That would be awesome. I feel like those three specifically have gone through so much together in the ring. And like Paul Heyman said, Roman Reigns has the utmost respect for those two. They're both legends of the game. And Roman Reigns teaming with them, that could be interesting. That would definitely be a curveball. But then again, it is the Viper and it is KO. I could also see them just turning on Roman, to be honest. So definitely a lot to talk about with the bloodline today. And I feel like just as the coming weeks go, that story is just going to progress. And as much as I hate them because they are pretty jarring, I do love what they're doing on TV.
Oh, man,
so
it's
I'm excited for it.
So.
It's going to be good. Moving on now to our WWE champion here, Cody Rhodes, a week after getting
Cody is still fuming after the fake retirement. And he's angry. So they went at it backstage a bit. Cody called him out to the ring. AJ came out, and Cody's challenging him to an I Quit match at Clash of the Castle this weekend. Man, have you seen Cody go off and beat up the WWE staff before?
Never. He was fuming. That fake retirement had this guy feeling a next type of way. All those guys you see in this photo right now got hit with something. Cody was kicking them, body slamming them. He was just furious. And it's one of those ones because it was so funny because about 3 minutes earlier, Wade Barrett said something like Cody Rhodes is the most professional athlete in the business when things are getting unprofessional. And then all but 5 minutes later, he's beating up officials.
Yeah, and ever since WrestleMania, we've seen him thanking the ring staff, thanking the security guards, shaking hands with WWE staff, and then now he's body slamming them into the ground.
Yeah, this was definitely, he's going full Homelander on us there. AJ Styles was obviously in his head after that, and he even attacked as well, which I thought was pretty funny. AJ Styles, he hit them all with a phenomenal forearm, and everyone in that photo hit the ground. So
that hair,
I love it, man, love it. So AJ Styles seems like he's just at the top of his game once again. You don't want none, as that shirt says, and it's going to be a very interesting match. Granted, this is a rematch of Backlash, which was in France, and now they're getting this match in Scotland, so they're just doing it all over the world. I'm really looking forward to this. What are your initial thoughts going into it now that we know it's an I Quit match?
I don't see Cody losing, but now there could be some interference from AJ's buddies there. So he didn't have that last fight. He might cheat, obviously, as we've seen. He's willing to do anything to get a victory, doing anything to get a fight back and become the #1 contender. So I don't know. You can't trust AJ Styles.
I know. I love it. It's definitely like giving off TNA vibes. And he has the Good Brothers with them. It's so funny. That tag team has had so many different name changes where it's like it's the OC, the Club, the Good Brothers, whatever you want to call Gallows and Anderson. Gallows and Anderson are going to be by his side. So I'm really looking forward to that. Now, if someone were to come down and help Cody Rhodes get the numbers game, who do you think it would be? Or is he going in this one alone?
I don't know. Like, obviously, when he won at WrestleMania, we saw Randy Orton was like his #1 cheerleader guy in the corner. Roman Reigns would be pretty cool, but I don't see that happening yet. I think we're skipping the bloodline issue first. So, I don't know. I don't think we see The Rock, because obviously we saw he got injured last week in training for his new film. I think Cody's just on his own. I don't know.
He might be. Yeah, he might just be.
Maybe Kevin Owens? I don't know. What do you think?
It will be interesting. I do have someone in mind, but not to be that guy. I do want to bring him up a bit later on in the show, because he will be brought up again. But if it isn't that person, I do agree with you. I do think he'll be alone. So it'll be a great match. I do think for AJ Styles, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to win. No. Love AJ Styles, one of my favorites ever, but we'll get more into that a bit later on for sure.
So our next match, final matchup of SmackDown, LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes. They've been going at it the last couple of weeks backstage. Finally, they went at it in the ring, and it was another great match for Carmelo Hayes.
Amazing match.
He lost again, but man, this guy's fighting big guys. He's doing well. He fits in. I don't think it's a big deal that he lost, but LA Knight with the victory.
Yes, for sure. Just to really relay on your point too, Carmelo Hayes has been amazing to see on the main roster as like a huge NXT guy that I am. And I think these two just work so well together. It looked like they have such good in-ring chemistry as well. And I think just their promo battles that have been outside of the ring have been amazing. So LA Knight gets a much-needed win. Carmelo Hayes, one, like you said, doesn't win, unfortunately. But his stock just keeps going up. It's a rare occasion. I feel like we've talked about wrestlers on the show that have fought so many times that haven't gotten their win, haven't got their moment. And it seems like Carmelo Hayes is losing these matches, yet he's the one that gains the most from it. So I absolutely love to see it. I think for LA Knight, we'll dive into him more now. This is a guy that he's due, you know. He's been in the limelight, the megastar, the catchphrases, the Slim Jim commercials. He is due for that push, that title, and he's getting that momentum as he keeps on calling out our man Logan Paul, you know, the unofficial sponsor of today's episode, Drink Prime. But it's going to be a good thing to see, I guess, LA Knight in the limelight once again. Is this finally his moment? Will he get that matchup, and will he win the title?
I think after WrestleMania, I personally thought that he would be fighting Cody, but obviously they've done a little bit of a turn with the AJ Styles storyline. After the fight, they went to a video package, and Logan Paul dismissed Knight as a legitimate contender and told him to take off those Temu sunglasses and look around. I ain't there. So Logan obviously doesn't think that LA Knight is worthy of fighting him, but obviously they're not just doing this for fun. It's going to happen. So when it does happen, where do you think it's going to be? Who do you think will be victorious?
I feel like maybe you're going to build this up long term, and this is Logan's SummerSlam matchup, as that's in Cleveland, as we discussed previously. I feel like if it was going to be at Clash, we would know by now. And so just with that being said, I think maybe they're going to put this on the back burner. I know Logan Paul recently was at the Tetris World Championship, so that's why he wasn't on SmackDown. And for them to announce it the day before, I don't really see that as a realistic thing. So I'm thinking SummerSlam. Do you agree with that? Or what
I think we're going to have to see. LA Knight's going to have to do something.
He does.
Logan Paul doesn't care. LA Knight can keep talking. Logan doesn't care. Logan's above him right now. So I think something's going to happen. Maybe the next time we see Logan Paul, LA Knight jumps him, interferes in his next match maybe, but he's going to do something to press his buttons and finally get Logan to say, fine, you know what? I'll fight you. I'm going to win, but I'm going to fight you. And I don't see Logan Paul losing to LA Knight.
I was just about to ask, do you think Logan's going to win?
You never know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think LA Knight, when he had that like hot run, the momentum, he was doing a thing with Roman Reigns, and I was like, okay, obviously he's not going to beat Roman, but then they introduced the World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm like, this would be perfect for LA Knight. Obviously didn't win that. He also was heavily rumored to win the Rumble, didn't win that. Same with the IC title, and now he's in line for the United States Championship, So it'll be interesting. I'm a huge LA Knight guy, but I also don't want to see Logan Paul lose either. And I feel like he's one of the hottest wrestlers right now.
I think too, like I've watched an interview on Logan Paul's podcast with Triple H, and I've watched a few other interviews, and his social media presence is something that the WWE wanted. It's not just about TV ratings anymore. They don't care. Like cable doesn't exist. He had a video, and I can't remember which video he said it was, but it's one of his most viewed videos ever on social media, and it was from a WWE event. It was in the vault. I can't remember. He was signing something in the vault from one of the events, and it had like 135 million views.
Oh damn, I didn't even know that.
Do you really want to take Logan Paul out of one of your main headliners and take a title away from him just to give somebody else a chance when he's that important to the WWE right now, I think.
Exactly. I'm totally with you on that. I think his presence, like you mentioned, is almost second to none.
Yeah.
They don't have a star like that. I know LA Knight is the megastar, but like Logan said, he might just be the real megastar. The audience he brings in, the attraction online, it is second to none, really. So I feel like I'm with you. I think Logan's going to have to retain that belt, but who knows, man.
And he put up a great fight against Cody. That Cody fight and like the drone scenes and stuff, like no other fighters, I don't think, is doing what Logan Paul's doing right now.
Exactly.
Which is pretty wild when you think about it.
You know, hats off to him. You know, got to take him off because he's been killing it. So hopefully down the line, LA Knight gets his due, but I do think it's still Logan Paul's time to shine.
Absolutely.
So we're going to move on now to Monday Night Raw. A lot to talk about here. And starting us off, we do have another storyline of ours that we just absolutely love. The whole Sami Zayn, Otis, and Chad Gable debacle. So after Otis cost Sami Zayn the match last week, these two would go at it in the match. Sami Zayn taking on Otis. And Otis was looking really good. Chad Gable is ringside, and he was commanding him throughout the entire match. But just when Otis stopped listening to his mentor, what happened there, Dan?
Sami Zayn got the victory.
It just, oh man, what is next for Otis? He would unfortunately not be able to beat Sami Zayn 1, 2, 3, but after the match they did beat down Sami Zayn, and Otis was actually coming into his own. He attacked Sami, and it was like, okay, this is really cool. But then it looked like he was gonna square up to Chad Gable, which I didn't understand. Maybe this is a turn that's going on here.
So Chad actually slapped Otis.
Oh, he did, yes,
a couple of times to make him go after Sami, which then it looked like he was actually gonna clothesline Chad, and he missed, but Chad walked away, and I think it was on purpose, and he smashed Sami in the corner. But then he turned around and he was ticked off, and as you can see right here in this photo, you know, he wasn't happy about the slaps. He knows what his job is. He went after Sami. He lost the fight. He's not happy, but he's also not happy with Chad Gable, who is terrified and looks substantially smaller than him in the corner.
Yeah, it's crazy because I feel like that Raw was Otis's, I guess, best moment of this whole storyline. Really stood tall against both Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Had a good match against Sami, had a great showing after the match, and then stood up to him. So as much as like I don't really rate Otis, like I don't rate him highly in that same category as the other two, he was probably the best part of the segment this week.
Absolutely. And shortly after that photo, Otis left the ring on his own, left Chad Gable in there. But Chad Gable, I don't know if you noticed, he was holding on to the rope, and he was on his knee, and he had this nasty grin on his face, like he knows what he's doing, and this is actually what he wants. Like,
yes.
What is he up to? What's going on here?
I think Chad Gable, call me crazy, might just be the good guy in this story. I think he genuinely sees that potential in Otis, and he knows for the past 4 years now it's been untapped. Otis wasn't really taken seriously. He somehow won Money in the Bank and then lost that, and now he's just kind of been a laughingstock. And I feel like if Chad Gable truly didn't care about Otis, he would not still be in the Alpha Academy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's like trying to break up the team or if he's just trying to push Otis over the top, but I feel like he's one slap or belt whip away from Otis turning on him finally, because it's been brewing for a few weeks.
The fact that we could say belt whip in this context is crazy because he literally beats him.
Yeah.
Like that's his punishment. So I'm very intrigued at where the story goes. And like we've both said the last number of weeks now, I think Chad Gable has to win that title. It finally has to happen.
I think so too.
And if it doesn't, then when? I don't know what's going to happen there. But moving on now, we do have another special kind of segment. I'll throw this over to you, Dan, as this was your idea that you came up with.
So yeah, this is going to be our first Ringside Rumors segment. This is something we're going to try to introduce every couple of weeks. Maybe we'll get some cool sound effects to play under this, some lasers and horns. But yeah, Ringside Rumors, first segment, Ricochet. The rumor right now is that Ricochet's contract's ending, I think this summer, not immediately, and there's talk of him departing from the WWE and a rumored move to the AEW. According to the PW Insider, the inaugural Speed Champion has given notice to WWE of his intentions to leave the company this summer upon his contract expiring. And furthermore, rumors suggested Ricochet could be written off of TV as soon as this week.
Wow.
Which we'll get into shortly after. So a little bit on Ricochet. Since he debuted on the NXT brand in 2018, he's held the NXT North American Championship, the United States Championship, the Intercontinental Championship, and the inaugural WWE Speed Champion, which he currently holds. But as you told me earlier today, the matches are pre-recorded. The match is tomorrow, and apparently he's not going to win.
Yeah, he dropped the title, unfortunately. Wow, what a first start to this new segment. This is actually one of the hottest news, I would say, of the summer because of how talented Ricochet is and the ability that he's able to bring to any roster. Now, this is kind of a bombshell, to be honest, because when this news broke, I think it was Monday morning, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. And it was actually out of nowhere. It was not expected. Ricochet's been doing a lot of great work recently. And I feel like he's one of the most, I guess, one-of-one unique superstars the WWE has ever seen, at least in my era. He's just freakishly athletic. He's strong. But he's just, I guess it just hasn't worked out on the main roster. And I was really surprised to read this. Now, what were your initial thoughts on all of this?
So I don't think he's been pleased with the storyline that's been going on. He's lost a lot of matches. He's been used to push another few fighters forward. He did tweet out, I think in May, you know, sorry fans, I lost again. So obviously he knows what's going on. He knows that he's losing. I think he's around 35. I believe he's 35. So I think he's looking at this as an opportunity, like, you know, I don't have a lot of time left. I think I should be a champion. Maybe I go to AEW. Maybe I go somewhere else, but maybe he just takes a break from WWE for a year, 2 years, and maybe tries to come back one more time. But it's too bad. You know, the storyline currently going on with him has been entertaining, but it looks like the rumors are true and it's going to be a quick write out.
Yeah, for sure. Before we move into that fully, I do want to say it is unfortunate, his demise in the company, if you will, because when he debuted on NXT, like you said, you read out the accolades. Accolades, not acolyte. I apologize, Star Wars fans. You read out the accolades, and with that being said, he was one of we're not. He was one of the brightest and hottest stars I thought that they had. He was great under Triple H with his work against Adam Cole, the Velveteen Dream, even against guys like Aleister Black too. But then when you move him up to the main roster, and he was in that kind of Vince McMahon era, he didn't fit what Vince wanted as a wrestler. He's not tall. He's pretty ripped, don't get me wrong, but he's not like jacked like a Brock Lesnar, and he's not crazy on the mic, which is unfortunate, because I feel like when we saw someone like Bobby Lashley come back, who is everything I just said, tall, ripped, amazing in the ring, but he can't really speak like that. That's why he's always had a manager talk for him, the way he had like Leo Rush and now BFAB. I think if Ricochet just had promo skills, I don't think we'd be in this situation, and it sucks because he's probably a top 10, top 5 wrestler that the company has in terms of in-ring ability, and it sucks that he's in a position where he just puts everyone else over, because he should be over, in my opinion.
You know, we got the heavyweight championship. I know we got other ones, but the heavyweight's the only one based on a weight class. Do they maybe copy the UFC and maybe introduce like a lightweight or a middleweight title for some of these guys? Because there are a lot of really good smaller fighters. You know, I'm a big Rey Mysterio fan. He's not going up against Drew McIntyre or some of these big boys. It's just not happening. And even Cody looks small when he was in the ring with The Rock and Roman Reigns, but Cody's big when you see him against a guy like a Logan Paul. So maybe should the WWE introduce a belt for the smaller guys to give some of these guys with the athleticism? Because you see what Logan Paul does. He's doing stuff that The Rock can't do. The Rock hit Cody and fell over, or he hit Seth Rollins and fell over at WrestleMania. Like, he's clumsy, he's big, but they're entertaining. But same with the UFC. We love watching the heavyweight fights for a quick knockout, but we like watching the smaller guys like a Conor McGregor because they do a lot of stuff that the big guys can't do. So maybe introduce a lightweight, middleweight belt, and you can keep some of these guys around, because it is a shame to lose Ricochet.
For sure. I will say that in the mid-2010s, they had the Cruiserweight Championship. They brought it back, but it failed miserably because they had its own brand actually called 205 Live, meaning it was 205 pounds and under. But then also, though, back in the day, they had something called the Light Heavyweight Championship. So I think they should bring that back. That would be better than a Cruiserweight belt, because I feel like this way it still holds pristine. And I feel like, imagine if Ricochet was Light Heavyweight Champion, that would work, like you said. Then you see more of the athletic matches against guys like Rey Mysterio, and like even Ilya Dragunov's another example of that. So it is unfortunate, but that was a bit of a tease to now talk about the current storyline that Ricochet was involved in. And we'll get to why we think this is it. But Braun Breaker was able to defeat Ilya Dragunov on Monday Night Raw in a gruesome battle. This was a great shot, by the way, but both of these men really brought it to each other. It was a brutal match. It was rough. And it was just honestly one of those like classic fights. Like, it felt really good seeing this. And honestly, I didn't know who was going to win until the end. So did you really enjoy this match as much as I did?
Good match. But we were waiting to see when Ricochet came in, because we knew he was coming. So Braun Breaker got the victory. Good match with the spear here. But the big news was after the fight, Ricochet coming in.
Yeah. We already heard the rumors, like I said, Monday morning that Ricochet might be written off TV this week. He comes in, he saves Ilya Dragunov from certain disaster, but he couldn't save himself as a couple segments later backstage, Braun Breaker was in a bad mood. Dan, what happened there?
So Braun Breaker just absolutely destroyed him. He body slammed him onto the hood of a car, smashed him into the glass, and just kind of left him there.
What a shot.
What a shot. So Ricochet got taken away in an ambulance with his wife, Samantha Irvin. And, you know, I don't know if this is going to affect her. Like, if he leaves, does she leave too?
I really hope not.
I hope not. She's been great. Like, especially, I think, WrestleMania, she, like...
was amazing.
Unbelievable. Her announcing in the ring. And then CM Punk, we had his Instagram reaction afterward where he said, Rip O'Shea. Maybe he knows that that's the end of Ricochet in the WWE for now. Maybe it was just, you know, he went away in an ambulance and he got destroyed. But yeah, this looks like the Ringside Rumors. This is the outcome.
Yes, for exactly that. Wow, man. I'm only laughing, by the way, at CM Punk. I'm not laughing at Ricochet. Don't think that. I had to cover my mouth. I didn't want to laugh into the mic. But wow, what a 12 hours it was on Monday, because seeing those rumors in the morning, the news articles, we were chatting about it saying, okay, cool, we're going to talk about this, and then seeing, but by the way, that's going to start today.
Yeah,
it just happened so fast.
It develops so quickly,
and I feel like this is such a shame because I love Braun Breaker as a talent. I love Ilya Dragunov, but like I said, in that ring, Ricochet is top 5 in the current company. So I can't believe it happened this fast.
And the storyline with these three guys for the last couple of weeks has been really fun.
Yeah.
Like Braun Breaker just destroying both of them nonstop. But, you know, I don't know if they bring somebody else into that mix or if they just move on to the next storyline. But it is a shame. And you know what? The way Triple H is running things now, maybe it wasn't a bad breakup with Ricochet. Maybe they sat down and said, look, we don't have anything planned for you right now. Do you want to leave? Go do something else. Build your brand back up and then come back when we get through whatever storyline we have planned. I hope that's what it is. We're not in the Vince McMahon era anymore, so I think it was probably not as bad. And if they're letting him get out of his contract early, Vince McMahon wouldn't have done that. He would have made him sit at home on his hands. So
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully we see Ricochet back. We don't know where it's going to be, when it's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be the WWE.
Yeah, it might just be AEW. We might be seeing Ricochet's All Elite where he could have his rematch with Will Ospreay or do something because, yeah, it is such a shame. But just everything that you just said, Dan, I believe that is unfortunately the end of Ricochet's story in the WWE. So going to be moving on now to another story that we always love to talk about. It's our main man, Drew McIntyre. What was he up to this week on Raw?
So Drew McIntyre, him and the Judgment Day obviously going at it still. And Priest gave him a deal that if he could beat Finn Balor, that the Judgment Day would not sit ringside at Clash of the Castle on Saturday.
Yeah, it was great. Well, I love Damian Priest because he's one of those guys where he's nah, I'm giving you guys the shots.
Yep.
If you could prove to me that you could do it, you'll get the title match. You'll get the Judgment Day.
Maybe Drew got in his head because he did say that you can't win without your guys here by the ringside. So, you know, maybe he got in Priest's head and maybe Priest said, you know what, I want to prove myself. I don't want them interfering. He got mad the last time they interfered. So maybe it kind of played into his head.
Yep.
Maybe Priest wanted this. Maybe Priest has something planned too.
Yes, because it was unfortunate for the Judgment Day because their stock is so high right now, but Finn Balor, the ace of the group, was unable to beat Drew McIntyre as he suffered a brutal Claymore kick. We were just watching it back too, it was a great match, by the way. But yeah, overall, just Finn Balor put up a good fight. We were doing the Sling Blades, the 1916s, but unfortunately it was Claymore country.
Yeah.
And is this a preview though for this weekend? Drew McIntyre hitting the Claymore against the Judgment Day.
Just to go back a little bit, you know, you're just talking about the light heavyweight belt and Finn Balor, another guy he's been really good.
Yeah.
But where do you go with a storyline? Because he can't beat a Drew McIntyre. He's not going to fight a Cody Rhodes. So I just think there's so many guys on the roster that deserve a little bit more spotlight than just being guys who are getting beat up. I think you're right with the light heavyweight, but yeah, Drew McIntyre with the win. Judgment Day is now banned from ringside. Does that really mean anything? They're going to be there. They're just banned from ringside, not banned from Scotland, not banned from the arena. So Do we still see them?
I feel like we'll still see them in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not at ringside, but maybe on the Jumbotron to distract. We could see that as well. With Drew McIntyre, though, we think he's gotten rid of his biggest distraction, but there's obviously one other person, the elephant in the room, and that is CM Punk.
CM Punk.
Where is Philly Phil these days?
Yeah, I don't know. He's been working out too.
Yep.
Braces off. He's looking like he's getting ready back in the ring. That's the other thing too. We got lots of big names coming back. We got Seth Rollins in the gym working out again. We got Roman Reigns working out again. We got CM Punk ready to return. You know, the future is bright. Yep. So they need to make space for these guys. But CM Punk has to get involved somehow. I just think this time Drew's going to have a plan for him. Yep. I think Drew's thinking ahead this time. He's clearing out the Judgment Day guys. I think he's got a plan for CM Punk.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre has just come in. And honestly, these last, I'd call it 8 months, has been one of, if not just the MVP of Raw. Yep. The way this guy, whenever he's on TV, it's going to be entertainment. He's going to have a great match, going to have great promos. And I just love him. I feel like when he came back and started beefing with CM Punk, I wasn't really a Drew McIntyre guy. I would hate on him every day. Yep. But I can't deny the work he's put in the talent. So that was a huge win for him. And we'll definitely spin back to his upcoming match for the championship. But before we do, there was a special guest on NXT this week. Cody Rhodes. He appeared on NXT and he actually cut a promo on AJ Styles, which was pretty good. But look at him there. This is like the stuff you love to see because you have the NXT arena, the NXT crowd, and they are greeted by the one and only, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So, Dan, I actually was happy with this because his what do you want to talk about was good. I wanted to talk about some things on NXT, and I feel like for what they're building right now with TNA, I was intrigued. So he did announce that there will be a 25-man battle royal next week for the NXT championship, the number one contender, and the winner of that match will face Trick Williams, who we'll get to momentarily. But right off the bat, Cody Rhodes making this announcement, were you like happy to see him there? Because I didn't know this was going to happen.
Yeah, I saw it announced earlier on the day, and then I actually tuned in to see what was going to happen. So, you know, he's a champ. It's good to see him not being too cocky, not too thinking he's better than NXT. He just wants to be all over the place and spread the word of the WWE and grow it. It was so cool. It was such a small crowd, but they sang the song. They did the woes. They gave him an ovation. They chanted. It was so cool, especially seeing with like a small crowd. Huge for the NXT athletes.
Yes.
Just excited. You saw everyone, even backstage. He was talking to like a whole bunch of different people there. So it's great to see Cody Rhodes. But, you know, he had an extended invite. And what was that all about?
He was greeted by the one and only Trick Williams, the WWE NXT champion. Whoop that, Trick. And they were just, you know what? Trick was being real. I love Trick. He just said to him, you know what? Like, what advice would you give me? And Cody gave him some advice. He said, you know what? Just make sure you're always on top of your game. And then that was it. But like you said, he did get an invite. And Trick Williams said, hold on. Before you go, Cody, 4th of July is coming up. Are you coming to the cookout? It was so funny. It was so good. And Cody kind of stood there like, it was like days. He was like, oh my God, this is happening. And he's like, I am going to the cookout. Yeah. So it was awesome.
Yeah, the crowd roared. They went wild. And then Trick said, cue Cody Rhodes' theme song. It was awesome. Good. It was so cool seeing the two of them together.
Love it.
I think Trick's the next guy, obviously, maybe next year. We see him coming up, kind of like we do with Carmelo Hayes right now. But, man, I watched a Bret Michaels documentary on the weekend, and they showed highlights from NXT over the last, year, 2 years, and there's so many fighters that have come up in the WWE now, and you forget that they were in NXT.
Exactly,
because they just fit. So what a great thing NXT's turned out to be for the WWE developing talent.
Fully. And just to quickly elaborate on this before we move on finally. So recently, we had Jordan Grace from TNA fighting Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
So Cody Rhodes also said to Trick Williams that there might be people from other locker rooms in that 25-man battle royal for his number one contenders. So it's going to be really interesting. I know off face value, do you watch a lot of TNA to know anyone that could come?
I don't, but I did see the tweet from Matt Hardy.
Yes.
He's fighting this Friday for the TNA championship, I believe.
Yes.
And he said after he wins that, he's coming for the 24 other guys. I can't remember what term he used, but
yeah. So does Matt Hardy?
Matt Hardy's been kind of like joking with us for the last few weeks. He's been hinting that he's part of this Mr. Howdy thing. He's been hinting that he doesn't have a contract. He's just kind of going event by event. You know, his brother's contract's ending. Do you see a return of the Hardy Boys to the WWE? I don't know. I think he's just fooling with us. It's getting him a lot of likes, a lot of follows. But, I don't know. Do you see Matt Hardy in an NXT TNA crossover? There's supposed to be some kind of a big announcement between the WWE and like Noah Wrestling or something, which I've never heard of. What is going on?
It's actually excites me because it's crazy to say, but yes, I think this is going to be TNA Matt Hardy's time to actually come back, because we got the teasers like you mentioned, but realistically speaking, they could get away with this and they could do it. I don't think he'll win, obviously, like unless if he did, that would be insane. Could you imagine Matt Hardy, Trick Williams, NXT? Like, it would be insane. But there is someone that I do want to talk about that I think will make his appearance, and that is Joe Hendry. One of the brightest stars are now on TNA. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. He's also Scottish, so we're going to get back to him too about Clash of the Castle. But I do think Joe Hendry, everyone's been wanting it. Pat McAfee teased it, if you didn't know. And I think this is it. So will Joe Hendry appear? I'm putting all the cards on it. I really hope
I'm getting like Smash Brothers vibes here off of this event, because I think it's just going to be all these random characters in the ring, and I think people are going to watch it. It sounds cool. It's a lot better than 25 guys from the same roster fighting over one opportunity, seeing people from all over different leagues, because not everyone's a fan of NXT, not everyone's a fan of WWE, not everyone's a fan of TNA. You've got fans who like certain ones more than other, or just like certain ones. So if you have a crossover event like this, you can't go wrong.
It's gonna be big, so I'm really looking forward to that. We'll definitely discuss it after it happens, but we're gonna move on now to the final part of the show, as we have another PLE this weekend, WWE Clash of the Castle, live from Scotland. So gonna make some predictions here, just a quick fire, go through them. Now, right off the bat, by the way, I love this poster. Great poster. And, I love that Drew has that sword, and it's in Scotland. Now, it's going to be really good.
Sorry, just looking at this photo, and I'm just realizing there's Yeet. But he's not listed on any of these fights. Is this just a bit of an older promo photo? Did something change? Or, do you think we're going to see him? Maybe he's just there for a promo?
I think we have to see him, because, when I was looking through this, too, I also thought the same thing. And it's he was very well advertised in this, and he is one of the most over wrestlers. I don't think they could do a PLE without Jey Uso in some way, shape, or form. So I do think he'll be there, yes. But
and I don't think we've seen him for a couple weeks, possibly now.
I think we saw him not this Monday, but the week before. He made his announcement that he wanted to fight for the Money in the Bank. So Jey Uso, Jey Uso unfortunately isn't fighting.
Money in the Heat.
Money in the Heat. But who is fighting though are our women's tag team champions right there, with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. They will be taking on Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark, and then the team of Alba Fry and Isla Dawn. Now, that's a great match on paper, to be honest. You got some hometown heroes there, and you got a new rising tag team with Baszler and Stark taking on the champs. Now, I just think right off the bat, this has to be another clean sweep for the champs. No way Belair and Cargill
I'm not betting
lose.
Against them. I know they don't always win, but I'm not betting against them.
I think as much as I love the idea of Stark and Baszler, I'm really high on them. And I do like Alba Fry and Isla Dawn. We just haven't seen a lot of them. I just, you kind of have to ride the hot hand. And I think Belair and Cargill kind of have this one. Definitely the most predictable matchup of the night, to be honest, which is no knock to any women involved. I just think it just makes the most sense, right? Probably the most dominant tag team across both men and women right now on the roster. So with that being said, that's an easy win for them. But now we're gonna spin back to our main man, Chad Gable, taking on Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Is this the time?
This is the time. This is gonna be Otis is gonna decide this, and I think we're gonna see Otis flip on Chad Gable.
Okay. That
and I know we changed, because I know we talked about this before, and I know you said you thought Chad and I said Chad too, but I don't know. I don't see how Otis is not going to be involved and Chad's going to win, but maybe, I don't know.
Okay, I'll give you my prediction. I think you're right, because I think Otis is going to turn on Chad, but I think, because I hate to say this, but how stupid Otis is, he's going to try and hit Chad and fail, and he's going to hit Sami, cost Sami Zayn the match, Gable with the 1, 2, 3, and I think Gable then in that moment is going to hold up Otis's hand and say, we did it, and he's going to prove that he always just wanted what's best for Otis. So that's my bombshell prediction for that. So hopefully that happens, because if not, then I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
But we know Otis will be there. He's there last time. He's always there. I think Otis is going to be the deciding factor, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
The next matchup, after that, we do have the undisputed WWE Championship matchup between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles in the I Quit match. Now, spinning back, like I said, we'd go a bit deeper into it. It's going to be a really rough match, to be honest. Like, this match is going to be really good. We're going to get some TNA vibes from it because I feel like it's going to be brutal. Now, this comes after AJ Styles' fake retirement attack plan that has clearly gone under Cody Rhodes' skin. And in terms of the winner, I think I'm going to unfortunately have to go with the champ, as much as I love AJ Styles.
Yeah, so this will be his third title defense.
Yep.
Second against AJ. Cody's going to win.
Yep.
But what shape is he going to be in after the match? Because I think, like you said, it's going to be a brutal match. I think it's going to be a bloody match. Nobody's going to be walking out of that not hurt. But I think you're right. Cody's going to win unless AJ has some interference.
Yes. And so to elaborate too, because I mentioned we'll put a pin in that, I obviously think the OC is going to come down and help AJ Styles. But on the contrary, we might actually just get Joe Hendry at Clash of the Castle. That would be amazing. And I think if so, Joe Hendry would obviously help Cody Rhodes. The crowd would go nuts. But then again, it does make sense for Hendry to be on NXT. But if he pulls up at the pay-per-view, this would be it.
Yeah.
So I think if Cody doesn't get help from Hendry, I don't know who helps him. So like you said, AJ, it will have the numbers game. And I could just see AJ Styles being down and then the Good Brothers coming down and like just beating Cody Rhodes.
And you mentioned too, like, is someone going to come help Cody, do you think, possibly?
Yeah, like if it's not Hendry, then I actually have no clue. And I don't think Randy's coming back. No. Like, it's too soon.
I think he's hurt, so I think he's going to be out for a little while.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see what happens there. But we're both going with the American Nightmare to retain.
Now, AJ loses. What happens next for him? Because he goes back to the bottom of the ladder. He keeps saying he doesn't have time. You know, does he stay in WWE? Does he leave WWE? They've got some partnerships they're talking about. Does he return to TNA?
I think so. Again, goosebumps thinking about that, because if you didn't know, AJ Styles is, like, in my opinion, the GOAT of TNA. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on that. And now that we're seeing these TNA guys coming in, we're seeing WWE guys potentially going there for cameos and appearances, I think AJ Styles needs one more TNA match. We didn't really get the proper send-off that we wanted. He obviously left in not bad terms, but like they offered him less money, so he's like, I can't stay here, and he left. We didn't get that proper goodbye. We didn't hear that theme song for the final time, and we didn't necessarily get that phenomenal ending, the ending that AJ Styles deserves. So I think if AJ Styles really does quit, can put in air brackets because obviously we know he's not like quitting his job, but if he does say I quit, then I do think he might turn on an episode of TNA Impact and you will hear AJ Styles' old theme song and he'll come down and challenge for that title. So
I think it'd be good. Like he's been really good. He's in a phenomenal shape. Obviously right now it'd be a shame to see him push back down to the ladder. You know, we already saw him in LA Knight. They already had their thing. LA Knight's now moving on to Logan Paul, so there's not really anything for him to do other than to maybe go back to TNA. So next fight up, we've got the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley, who's the current champion, versus Piper Niven.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen?
I'm going to go on a limb here. I think Piper Niven might actually win.
Upset?
I think this could be the hometown upset. I think it could happen. And I say this more because of how cool and like how, I guess, pushed Chelsea Green and Piper Niven have been.
Yep.
Love Bayley. She's an absolute trailblazer, but this title reign is just not doing it for me.
Yeah.
And I think Piper Niven as champ with Chelsea Green as her like valet would be amazing.
They did come in last week or 2 weeks ago, and they did kind of outshine Bayley in her ring promo. So I think you're right. I think Bayley's she's had her time, she won, but it's kind of getting a little stale. So
why not? Let's get that hometown ovation, and they would go nuts. Like they would be amazing. So I'm gonna lock in there with Piper Niven. I think we're on the same page with that one as well.
I'm with you.
And then the final matchup. Oh man, it's so good because we got Damian Priest, the champ, defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre, the Scottish psychopath in Scotland. Come on, who else would we pick for this matchup?
It is Drew McIntyre's title. Damian Priest stole it. He doesn't deserve it. He didn't earn it. And Drew McIntyre is going to take it back. Yes.
I am with you on that. It has to happen. Drew McIntyre, it's their it has to happen. Just look at these two men, two behemoths. But that title, as much as I love it with Damian Priest, imagine how this would look once again, rightfully, with the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre. what a match this is going to be. When he comes out, I'm hoping he plays Broken Dreams, his old theme song. The whole crowd can sing
There's been some rumors online. Fans been asking for it. He's actually addressed it. So
he's so good. Get the fans singing and then play that new song and then lift up that title at the 1, 2, 3. So we're going with Drew McIntyre.
And props to Damian Priest. Even if he loses, I don't think he's not going away. He's a main event guy now. I think he's definitely solidified him as deserving to be here. Who knows what comes next for him? Maybe he goes after the Intercontinental title. Maybe the Drew McIntyre thing has a wild ending with CM Punk and it keeps going. Obviously, we talked about CM Punk being there, probably interfering in some way, maybe backfiring and leading to Drew McIntyre winning. It'd be nice to see the pie in CM Punk's face for a change. As much as he's got the crowd on his side right now, Drew McIntyre has alluded to that he's been the good guy all along. And I actually don't disagree because so many people dislike CM Punk. You know, he left WWE on bad terms. He went to the UFC. He absolutely failed in the UFC. He went on to AEW. Can we say that? He went to AEW. AE. And he got fired from there. But that's a bit of a weird story because I don't think he was at fault with the backstage shenanigans that went on. But, you know, when you do think about it, CM Punk's actually the bad guy and Drew McIntyre is actually the good guy. And I think the storyline's starting to flip. People are starting to say, wait a minute, we got tricked.
Hold on.
And, I think we're going to see Drew McIntyre win. I think CM Punk is going to end up on the wrong end of this. And, I think it's going to be a good night.
Really with you on that. That is this Saturday from Scotland. So it's going to be a great pay-per-view. I'm really excited for that. But before we wrap up today's show, we did tease at this a couple weeks ago that we talked about it. And now it seems like we finally can because we might have some concrete answers. As after various QR codes, mysterious links, we now have one final message from Uncle Howdy. And it is a countdown. You refuse salvation. The reckoning is inevitable.
So this got dragged out a little bit. I think fans were kind of like, okay, let's just figure this out. So it looks like on Monday Night Raw, because we got 4 days, 8 hours, that brings us to around 8:00 p.m. Monday. We're finally going to figure out what's going on here on the next Raw after Clash at the Castle. So it's exciting. We've got some predictions. Some people have been hyping up stuff. Some people have been pretending like they've been involved. Matt Hardy, who I don't think is involved, but we'll see. But he's been sticking his fingers in everything lately.
I know.
What do you think they're going to do?
I'm very intrigued. I do agree with you. I do think it's been a bit dragged out in the sense of like so much stuff is happening. Like you heard what we just talked about. So much stuff. But this being on the back burner has really gotten me intrigued. I'm genuinely scared when I watch these videos. They're creepy. Like they're not like easy videos. The lore runs deep, and I think we might be in a situation where we see the likes of Uncle Howdy come back. We might see Dexter Lumis, Alexa Bliss. You might even see Eric Rowan or Eric Redbeard, whatever he goes by these days. And it's going to be really good. It's going to be really creepy, and I'm excited. I think when Bray Wyatt sadly passed away, one of the things underlying to it was, from a business standpoint, what happens to Uncle Howdy. And after various tributes, the Hall of Fame, just so much stuff that's been happening recently, I think now's the perfect time for him to come back. And dare I say it, but does Uncle Howdy attack a big star on Monday night coming up?
It makes sense. And, there's so many rumors, so many predictions. I've seen everything from he's going to come in as a heel and then he's going to turn to a baby face, that maybe Uncle Howdy is just going to be what he appears as first and he'll develop into something else like The Fiend down the road. So there's lots of rumors. I think we know the characters who are coming in, the ones you mentioned, because there's been videos on previous QR codes. But I think they're going to have to cause some trouble off the start before they fit in and maybe people start to like them. But it has to be scary. The names are all horror movie themed, serial killer themed. But who do they go after? Is there a link between these fighters before in WWE?
So they all have stuff to do with Bray Wyatt himself. So Eric Rowan was the original member of the Wyatt family. Alexa Bliss was the modern day Sister Abigail. Dexter Lumis, no. Just very creepy, though. I love Dexter Lumis. Very creepy. And obviously Uncle Howdy in real life is Bo Dallas, his brother. And then in this, I guess, is his uncle, whatever you want to word it. But so it's going to be really good. And I think that they're going to do it right. I
Yep.
don't think they would do something that Bray Wyatt would not have liked and would not have approved. So I think it'll be really good. And just, yeah, really creepy. Just before we wrap it up, do you have anyone you want to see these guys go after right off the bat?
Do they, if Drew McIntyre is on Raw, right?
Yep.
So if he wins the title, do they go after Drew right off the bat?
That would be insane, you know? I didn't even think about that.
Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, take him out.
CM Punk.
Get the other elbow.
I was also thinking maybe Jey Uso. You know,
yeah.
Jey Uso did say that the Fireflies are his now.
Okay.
You know, he said it in good light, said it to be like, I'm doing this for Bray. But who says Uncle Howdy's going to like that? So that's another name that's kind of been floating around. So I'm really intrigued. I think it'll be really cool when it happens. And I will be tuning in on Raw right off the top of the hour just to see this.
Absolutely. So I think next week we're going to return on Tuesday instead.
Yes.
So we can talk about the PLE on Saturday. If anything big happens on SmackDown tomorrow night. And then we can talk about Monday Night Raw on Tuesday.
Yep.
And it'll be fresh.
Yeah, so. There you go. So really excited for that. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Dan, as always, for doing the show with me. And it's been fun. So thank you guys for the support. And make sure you tune in next week on Tuesday. So don't forget that you can follow us on social media at DCSA Media Hub and on our personal Instagram at Riot_Rumble. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. My name is Justin. This is Dan. And that's all from us today. Thank you guys so much.